we are returning to normalcy with these videos and with these articles. Man, am I so happy to finally be talking about NHL updates in regards to stuff, because now we don't have to keep on bringing topics out of thin air. Today what I wanted to do was go over to two articles published on NHL.com. We're going to be talking about the Canucks, we're going to be talking about the Flames, and two players, one from each team, that had a few interesting comments in regards to their summers and how the season is going to begin. Because I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan, we're going to start with the Calgary Flames guy first and leave the Canucks guy to the second half of the video, because today we're going over to a piece published by Aaron Vickers, NHL.com independent correspondent, because they interviewed Jonathan Huberdeau, and he went out there and had some very interesting comments about the upcoming season. He's confident in rebounding with the Flames after a new workout routine. The forward is hoping to boost his offensive numbers, and he says that Calgary can cause some surprises. Let's go out there and read what this article says. Huberdeau, who had 52 points in 81 games played last season, is entering the second season of an 8-year, $84 million contract signed August 5th, 2022. Yeah, that's a big deal. A lot of people would go out there and criticize the deal. He's making $10.5 million a year, and he only had 50 points last year. 12 goals, too. Big far cry from the 110-plus point year that he had all those seasons ago. He was tied with Jonathan Huberdeau in point production that season, RIP. This is where Huberdeau talks about what he's getting back in his game. I think more speed. I'm never going to be the fastest guy, but I think I get a lot of power, more power and stuff, and I had a lot of time to do it, Huberdeau said on Tuesday. I'm really happy with the summer I had. It's probably my best summer of training that I've had. I just have to translate that onto the ice. I skated more in the summer as well, so I feel better. The confidence is back. I just have to relay that here with the guys. I think this is the year I want to bring fun to my game. That's what we need to be. I think we just got to make it fun as a team. You never know, we can cause some surprises. And, you know, I gotta say this, man. I have to say this all the time we talk about players who are performing poorly or not living up to their contract. I say this with Pierre-Luc Dubois. I say this with Filip Zadina. I've said this with every guy, pretty much. We want to see NHL players living up to their potential. Is that a hot take? No, it's not. We want to see guys who are paid handsomely perform handsomely as well. We don't like seeing situations where guys are absolutely overpaid bums who don't go out there and exhibit the proper talent that corresponds with the dollar amounts that they're getting paid. Everybody is frustrated. The player is embarrassed. The team is frustrated with the performance. The fans all get pissed off. It's a big L for everybody. Maybe except for the fans of opposing rival teams, like myself. But I'm not going to go out there and say that I want Jonathan Huberdeau to perform poorly next season. Obviously, it's better for everybody if he lives up to that $10.5 million AAV. Does that mean 115 points again? Who knows? Is that possible nowadays? Who knows? If he even gets back up to 82 points in a season, that is, I think, the bare minimum for a guy who's making the amount of money that he's making. But for Huberdeau himself to have that confidence back within him, to say that he wants to make the game fun again, to say that he's been training well, that this has been the best offseason of his career, which is kind of nuts, by the way, when you consider he has had many better years in the past in the Florida Panthers system. With Nazem Kadri as his center, it seems like Huberdeau is really poised to shutting up the haters once and for all with this upcoming 24-25 campaign. And honestly, if he's not able to do that, then it doesn't matter, because he's got so many more years left in that contract. It goes on till the 2030s after all. Let's go out there to the bottom of the article and read some comments made by Craig Conroy in regards to Huberdeau. The one thing about Jonathan, he changed up his training in the summer. He's a super competitive guy and he wants to be the best player. He wants to win. That's the one thing. Just come in and play. He's put a lot of pressure on himself. He wants to take this team and put it on his back, but it is a team effort. He doesn't need to put all the pressure on himself with Kadri, Weegar, Anderson, Macklin, Coleman. We've got a good group of core veteran guys, and we just need to do it together. It's not one person who's going to win or lose games here. It's going to be the whole team. Huberdeau goes out there and talks about as well the Calgary Flames transitioning to a younger team. At this point, we'll still have some leaders, a lot of leaders, and we have some young guys. No in-between. We need to guide these young guys and help them as much as possible. These days, the young guys come in and they're in good shape. They're fast. They're ready to go. It's fun to see that. I think it's just exciting for what this club is going to become, and it starts right now. I feel like it's for us to show the way to the young guys. You never know. We could be a tough team to beat every night, and it's on us to decide that. Even though it might be harder this year, we're going to have fun doing it, and I'm going to preach a lot of that on this year too. Is Andrei Kuzmenko a young guy? I mean, he's like not terribly old, but he's not like young either. He's only played 2 NHL seasons. Okay, all questions aside, Jonathan Huberdeau's got a good mindset about this, but he is not the only one who had some comments to say about the upcoming year playing in the Pacific Division. I also wanted to leave a link in the description to this other NHL.com article published by Kevin Woodley earlier yesterday. It goes over Brock Boeser as he's cleared to play for the Canucks after a blood clot in his leg. The forward remained on thinners during the offseason, which delayed his training. Take a look at this. Brock Boeser had himself an interview on Monday where he had talked about his offseason training. It was delayed because he remained on blood thinners that sidelined him for a 3-2 loss against the Oilers in Game 7 of their second-round matchup in this previous playoffs. The 27-year-old was on thinners for a few months and has since been cleared for contact. I could still skate and stuff, but I had to be careful just contact-wise, Boeser said at the Canucks' annual Jake Milford charity golf tournament, but I've been off them for a little bit now and I've gotten to start doing contact towards the end of the summer. The injury occurred when he blocked a shot in Game 1 against the Oilers, but it worsened as the series progressed. A scan in the morning in Game 6 revealed the clot had moved on from a small to deep vein. Boeser will still have to be careful moving forward when it comes to travel, and he might wear compression devices on an airplane. You've got to be safe on flights to make sure you're moving around and not sleeping and stuff. It's still something that we discuss within our training staff. And this is kind of the deal with blood clots, man. Like, NHL athletes get them, I'd say, a little bit more than the regular human being. Like, I'll always remember Steven Stamkos and his blood clotting issue being seen as a really big deal, and Boeser is not the only other NHL player aside Stamkos to get a blood clot either. But it happens with hockey players because, you know, you're working hard, you're skating hard, you're sprinting for 40 seconds every few minutes, and you've got all this big, heavy equipment on, you're sweating, you're dehydrated, and after all of that, what? You go on a plane, you go all the way up in the air, there's a lower concentration of oxygen, and anybody, especially those with hypertension, will be at risk for something going on. And for athletes who go through the torture of playing a hockey game, you're always working, you're banging bodies, you're really sweating hard out there, especially after you block a shot. Like, I forgot who it was. Was it Matthias Ekholm who took the shot that Brock Boeser ended up blocking? Like, you know how bruises work, right? There's blood that coagulates underneath the skin, and when all this stuff combines together, and you're flying up in the air back and forth between Vancouver and Edmonton, it leads to a situation where you are more susceptible to a blood clot. And that's what happened to Boeser. The rest of the article has some more quotes here. It's obviously something we look back on, and it was a tough scenario, but I'm just happy that I can move forward and finally focus on this season, Boeser said. He is also on the final year of a 3-season, $19.95 million contract with a $6.65 million AAV, which he signed with Vancouver back on July 1st, 2022. He set NHL career highs in goals, points, and power play goals, power play points, and plus-minus in 81 games last season, missing only the regular season finale just before the playoffs began. Just let it play out, Boeser said. Obviously, coming off a blood clot, I think I've got a lot to prove, just kind of dealing with that little setback. So, I'm just focused on having a great camp again like I did last year, and trying to have a fast start to the season again. And for Brock, does that necessarily mean 40 goals? I don't know. I mean, the guy was shooting at like 19% last season, so I don't think 40 is a realistic expectation to have. But 30? I think that's possible. I think maybe it's even likely to go out there and assume that he'll get 30. Who really knows? The fact is, for Brock, a guy who was struggling to hit 30 for the majority of his career up until last season, to finally be in a spot now where he is a 70.40 goal guy, if you had told Canucks fans that Boeser would become that back in 2017-18 when he was in his rookie season playing with the Canadiens, I think a lot of Canucks fans would be very satisfied with that. Maybe not with the amount of time it took to get him there, but still, seeing him become as good as he was, it's a very good sign. Now we just gotta hope that he, for his own sake, is able to rebound after this blood clot in a good way. Stamkos did it. Why can't Boeser? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Huberdeau and Boeser and the comments we had talked about today. Both articles will be linked in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.